Have you ever found yourself scrolling through social media and suddenly feeling inadequate, wondering if your life measures up to the images and stories you see online? This is a common experience for many of us, especially in a world where social media plays such a central role in how we connect, communicate, and even define our self worth. Welcome to this special joint episode of The Hearts of Men and the Hearts of Women, where we'll be diving into a topic that affects us all: balancing social media and self worth, where we give tips of healthy connection. Today, we're going to explore how the digital world influences how we see ourselves and others, the pressure it creates, and how we can develop healthier relationships with both social media and ourselves. We'll be addressing not only the challenges, but also the opportunities that social media presents for connection, community, and authenticity. Through the perspectives of both men and women, we'll discuss practical strategies and faith based insights that can help us navigate the complexities of social media while staying grounded in our true value. That being said, let's begin by unpacking the real impact in social media of our self image and what we can do to reclaim our self worth. Now, social media, social media, social media. I think that's probably how all of us either connected or reconnected. I've known this brother down here for some years, and we're all reconnected in the social media space. And if I'm not mistaken, just about everyone on here does the TikTok thing, right? So I kind of want to kick off our conversation by talking about the influence of social media on our self-image. So the first question here is, how do you think the constant exposure of curated content on social media impacts our perception of ourselves and others? It's the waiting game. I love it.
I'll jump out there. I'll jump out there. um,
And I'm so disappointed in you. No, I'm joking. Go ahead.
I would say that the impact that it has on us is we try to compare ourselves to what is perceived, what we're watching, what we're taking in, and a lot of times that's not genuine or accurate, because people will show you what they want to show you on social media, so you don't get the true authentic person, individual. And you won't, because I think what you call them sometimes, coach, keyboard warriors, or so you have people who will give you this perception that this is who they are, and then we're looking at all these people who have these marvelous lives, and we're like, well, why is not my life like that? And we're comparing ourselves to that. That's what I used to do. So I want to make myself transparent. I no longer do that because now I understand my identity. So I just wanted to add that.
I like it. I like it.
I think one of the things it can cause in some people is a distorted view of reality. When you look at social media, a lot of times you're only seeing a small snapshot of someone's everyday life. If there's what about now? Still good? All right. I think that what happens is sometimes that, there's 24 hours in a day, and I'll go to dinner and I'll take a picture of me and my wife eating dinner. And we got nice food out there. We got a drink up there. And they're like, oh man, the Martins, they're living the best life. That was one picture. You don't know that, this was a makeup dinner because we've been arguing for the last 2 days, so I mean, not true in our situation, but I'm just saying in general, you don't know the context around or behind that photo. So I think, people will look at certain people and say, oh man, they're living good. They're living a great life, but behind the scenes on reality, they're not. So I think in some people, it can create a distorted reality.
I will piggyback off of what Uncle Junior said. I absolutely agree. It absolutely causes comparison issues. I believe that people start to focus on a snapshot of someone's life and think that that is their reality. And they start to kind of have this chasing perfectionism thing. And they they don't really understand that that is, again, just a snapshot of someone's life. Even the things that they post, the purses and the luxury trips and all those things, these are just a picture. You don't know what they had to do to get those things, and that's not obtainable to the average person. I would agree 100%.
I think people that find themselves in this constant exposure to what's going on and then look at it as if it should depict the perfect life are those who are seeking to be whole and seeking in the wrong place, because they, this is entertainment for the most part for me. I have real relationships with people that I can actually call, and I don't necessarily need to solely have my connections based off of social media outlets. But some people look at it as Jada Pinkett on Low Down Dirty Shame. When she seen the guy in real life that she saw on a soap opera, she wanted to fight him because she looked at his character as a real person. And when we look at people, we can take the information without saying, well, I got to take everything that comes along with the person. See, sometimes we just got to sit back and allow people to be people, because people mess up. People have lives. People have issues. And when they're giving you information, just take the information, not necessarily the person's life.
Yeah, I was a little hesitant because I'm thinking about curated content, right? I was thinking more in the informational way, but I think about it in the organized informational aspect of it. I'm looking organized. When you think of social media, is algorithm driven, and I think sometimes we find things that we like to hear and that sounds good or feels good to us, and so it is fed to us through our algorithm, and so it's almost like you can't break through it because it's continuing to hit you right there in that spot where you're like, I need this, I want to hear this, I want to continue to digest this. But the problem is, I think when you're getting your information solely from social media and there's no face-to-face real communication or conversations happening, it allows you to void yourself of the accountability process in this information. So it's like, well, I want to do this and I want to live this life, but the how to, right? Yeah, it's the makeup dinner, as on put, but that makeup dinner costs more than what you got in your bank account. Because on got that kind of money. I'm not saying on got, I ain't pocket watching. I'm just saying, you know, and and so that creates a whole nother dynamic of problems. Oh, well, I need a man that can buy me a $300 meal on the first date. Well, go date Warren Buffett. See if his wife is happy with that, because I'm not doing it. All right, and so, but this is where these unrealistic mindsets come from, is because we have fantasized and been driven and been fed our fantasy vision of a date or of a marriage or of a couple or of a whatever it is, that we can't, it's hard to put ourselves back into our own reality.
I agree with Gaddy. This question made me think about, where does the skin end and the mask begin? You see a lot of unauthentic people or inauthentic people on social media, and sometimes you fall into that category because you can surround yourself with those types of individuals. I do agree with the algorithm. If you find yourself in a position where you find good people like you, then it's great. And there's nothing wrong with being on social media and being able to change your perception about yourself and others based on the conversation that's being had. But it seems like the conversations continue to go in a circle and no one ever gets anywhere on a lot of the social media channels that I've seen. So the false pretenses, not being authentic with yourself and others, I think it's a lot of mask wearing on social media, and we can take that sometimes we take that away and we start questioning ourselves about our own worth or our own knowledge about ourselves because we heard some other information that may not be true or may resonate within us, and we focus on that.
So I like where everybody is, because it really sounds like everybody, for the most part, is saying that kind of like what Adrian said, it's not real. It's like a misrepresentation of reality. And I agree, but I kind of want to like spin off another question based upon that and everything that everybody is sharing. Like, if it is a misrepresentation of reality, if these people that are on social media, for the most part, obviously we're not saying everybody is not being authentic. We're not necessarily saying that everybody is misrepresenting reality. But if that is the case, what is it like? What is it indicative of? Like, what is it really saying about a person if I feel like I have to come behind a computer and put on some type of facade, some type of misrepresentation of who I really am, just to kind of get likes and all that other stuff? What does it really say about me?
It's attention seeking, in my opinion. I need attention. I want attention. I don't feel worthy. So let me pretend. I want to put this mask on and pretend to be this person that I'm not so people will like me. That's what I think.
Okay.
I mean,
I think. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Yeah.
all right. I agree with the love doctor, but I also think it's a hustler mentality sometimes, right? And maybe I'm just speaking as a New Yorker, is because I'm not giving you what you need. I'm giving you what you want to hear, what feels good, so you can keep on tapping the like button, and I can keep getting this YouTube check. Or it's not really about being real. Some people on there to try to help, like this community, but some people ain't really trying to help. Some people just they just pimping the algorithm. I know people like to hear this. I'm gonna keep talking about this. Like, we hear these podcasts of men talking about women, and it's like, is this the only conversation you have? The same set of questions for 100 podcasts? Like, you couldn't create another question. And then all 6 of y'all must be friends, because all 6 of these podcasts are asking the same question. And it's vice versa with some of the women podcasts. Like, we do this. I believe a lot of them do this because they understand how the algorithm works, and they don't really care if you get help. They just here to pimp you for $1 or for life.
I think some of it can be used. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was going to say that I think people want to appear to have this I have it all together, and I'm an authority, and I'm flawless, so you should listen to me. When they are usually speaking about their opinions when it comes to a lot of the topics that are on social media. And then you have other people who are just out there trying to be the goal. They want to be in the conversation. They want to go viral. They want to do all these things. And that all does tie down to attention. The attention that I get on the things I want you to focus on will take your attention off of the things that I don't want you to focus on, nor do they want to deal with in a social setting. So I would say that a lot of it is just a hiding of their own flaws. Look at me. I know what it is. I don't have any flaws. I am the authority.
I think it's many layers. I don't think it's just one or two things. I think that sometimes it can be used for educational purpose. Sometimes it's just so people can trick you into buying things or convince you. I think that sometimes people just want to get some things off of their chest. But it's just like if I go out there and I turn on my television, I got thousands of channels that I can watch. And it's whatever I choose to focus my energy on that gets my attention. So if you're watching and they talking about, I refuse to spread anything that's putting somebody down. I don't care if they're guilty or not. I'm not putting baby oil bottles all across the screen and all that other mess. Now I may share it in comic relief with you guys or something like that because it's funny. It is. People make dumb decisions and it's funny, but I'm not sharing it for likes so people can, oh man, he shared this, that, and the other, because I know that that's going to push the algorithm. And because sometimes I will share some stuff that's like, should I have shared that? Sometimes I think about it after the fact. I'm like, it's funny to me because I'm a real person, and what old boys say, players mess up too. No, I'm just kidding. But but I think that it's whatever you put your attention to, and if you put your attention to foolishness all of the time, that's what it's like eating candy all the time, eating sweets. You don't add any educational value to anybody else. You just on there for the fun of it.
Okay, I was just thinking about the question, that what does it say about you if, Coach, I just wanted to make sure I'm answering the question correctly. What does it say about you if you can pretend to be something that you're not when you get on social media?
Sure.
Okay. Sure. Okay.
So the same question, yeah.
Same. So I mean, I like the question. I think that everybody has, pretty much hit on it, and I wanted to add to it as well. That to me there are some good people, but I think that when we're in this social media environment, we have to take our time to get to understand who people are, because we're not with them on a day-to-day basis. And then there are some good aspects about social media. Of course, we're here, so that's one good aspect. And we use it for our businesses, to grow our businesses. So there's some good aspects in that regard. But I think that the looming problem is when you are getting on social media and you are pretending to be something that you're not, for, I think someone mentioned, to get attention. There's also so many other aspects of social media that are beneficial, that are helpful for us, and that we use because this is the environment that we're in today. And so I didn't want to just, I guess, talk about the bad aspect, but there are some uncommon aspects as well that are beneficial to us. But it's up to us, the individuals, to monitor our interaction and how we are buying into what we're seeing online.
Anybody else? No? Okay. I like where everybody is going. I think for me, it's like if a person sit here and take like pictures, snapshot after snapshot after snapshot after snapshot after snapshot after snapshot, and then I'm gonna select out of all the ones, I'm gonna select the best one, and I'm gonna hit it with a filter, and I'm gonna change the background, do all this other stuff, and then that becomes the one that I post on social media. It's not really who you are. It's not really your authentic self. And I think for me, the issue becomes is that number one, it's a lie. I will start off there. And then number two, when it goes to that degree, to that capacity, I don't know what just happened, to that degree, to that capacity, it almost puts out a fake perspective of reality. Now, here's the other side to it. Part of that might be because I myself am already living a lie, whether it is online or not. So I think social media only serves as a medium, and I'm using that word intentionally, as a medium to exacerbate your reality. So if I am unauthentic in reality, trust me, I am going to be grossly unauthentic on social media. And then the information that I put out is going to be hand selected, spruced up, cleaned up, and presented so that you will only see the best versions of myself. Like Garfield gave a perfect example a few minutes ago. Not that he does that, right? But what I'm saying is when people see like a husband and wife out in, I can't remember exactly where y'all went, Italy, not too long ago. So husband and wife in Italy is like, oh my God, I want that. I want to do that. And then you go and you start talking to your husband. Can we go to Italy? Then your husband like, man, girl, I got to pay these bills. You know what I'm saying? We got to make sure we got food on. Ain't nobody got time for all that. So then y'all get in an argument over a situation like Garfield said, man, we probably just got in an argument about 30 minutes ago. And here it is. We put it to my girl, pause, snap. You know what I'm saying? Now this is what it is. So I think for the most part, when it comes down to curated, media, we have to realize that there's always another version of the story. You're looking at humans. That person's life ain't always great if that's what they're portraying 24/7. Now, am I saying that they should show everything about their life? Absolutely not. I think everything has to have a purpose, especially when it comes on to social media. Whatever your purpose is for having a social media account, TikTok, YouTube, whatever that looks like, then you stick to your purpose and you make it about your purpose. You ain't gonna see me doing no TikTok video where we riding down the street in my truck with the sunroof open and the wind blowing in my hair and all kind of stuff like that. No, that's not the purpose of my channel. The purpose of my channels on all of them, is all about education. So what you're going to get is a platform to where I'm spewing education. I might stutter a little bit. I don't care. At the end of the day, it's not about how well I deliver it. It's all about the time and energy that I put into the message. So that's kind of like my thoughts there. Any other responses or thoughts based upon that one? Did I say hair? No? Yeah, I did say hair blowing in the wind. My beard is blowing in the wind. Stop playing. Y'all leave me alone. Any other thoughts before we go? Before we grab the two comments out of the chats? Y'all being nice tonight. I see that already. Okay, I think Nick D was kind of like right on board when she talked about the word curated. The word curated is key in this question. If you think about it, if you think about what that actually means, it refers to choosing particular things to display, etc. People pick what is the most appealing. Absolutely. And then Adrian said, did social media fantasy come from watching celebrities on stage, magazines, TV, or other platforms? Your thoughts?
Depends on how you grew up or how you live. Do you spend a lot of time looking at these reality shows, these TV shows, looking at these magazines, or like if that's how you spend your life, I think it becomes easier to fantasize to list these famous people up, whoever that person is you like, to such a level that you're striving to be like them, that you start talking like them. Like I hate when I'm talking to somebody and I hear somebody use a comeback I heard when my wife was watching one of them housewives. Like something, don't come to me unless I send you. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard, and it's just annoying. Because I'm like, y'all saying this because some chick off of one of them housewives said the same thing. Right? So you begin to talk like them and act like them. So I think it all depends on how you live your life. You spend too much time on it, eventually, I believe.
But also, I look at it as when we grew up, some of us, wanted to be entertainers. Some of us wanted to be singers and dancers and actors. And this is another outlet where I don't have to go to school. I don't have to go to Juilliard. I don't have to do this. I can showcase my talents. I can, do all these things without having all of the cameras and all of the money that it takes to perform these events. I can just get on here and do this. And I can share a little bit of myself, what's going on in my head. So it's not the same for everyone. Everyone may not be on there just trying to push out buffoonery or trying to become the next Lenny Bruce. Sometimes it's just people use it as an outlet as well.
I know just from like the 80s, right? So we all grew up watching A Different World, 227. Everybody knows that the 80s sex symbol was Jack K. Harry. All those things that we all sat down as a family like to watch. I think just as we've gotten older and how time has transitioned, we just transitioned it from that. Everybody wanted to be the Huxtables, right? Everybody wanted to work in the basement, and have the kids and have the family theatrical, musical performance, all those things. We all kind of grew up looking at that and wanting to emulate that as we developed. And then now you transition it over into modern times. It's the same, but I think it has developed into a bigger monster, because now not only do we dream about those things and we put together a plan to get some of those things, we feel like we should have that some of us, not all of us, we feel like we should have that without putting any effort into it. Like, I don't understand how, seeing a celebrity carry a $50,000 purse is hardly realistic to anybody. But for some ladies, it is. And I think that it has distorted some of our dreams versus what we really do believe is reality.
I will add that influence, I think, is a really big thing for us, and we have to be mindful of what we're taking in. Like, I'm not a person that particularly likes or have ever really watched any of the reality TV shows. I just never watched it. I didn't like watching wrestling because it looked like it was fake to me. I mean, so I never really watched any of the reality TV shows, but I know now better than I did, many years ago, that we allow these things to influence us. What we're listening to, we talk about the algorithms, what we're taking in on a daily basis, what we are adopting, as someone mentioned, I think Gaddy mentioned, what we're adopting, and those are not even. That's not even us, but we're adopting behaviors that do not even represent who we are. But now we're allowing ourselves to be transformed into the mindset of the world. I'm going to just have to go there right quick. Not allowing ourselves to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. So, I let this mind that was in Christ Jesus be in us also. So we have to be mindful. We have to guard our heart for the issues of life flow through it. And we have to be mindful of the things that we're taking in, because if not, we're going to be subject to the, I forgot the phrase that Gaddy just used, adopting those phrases and talking like that when it's not even us. So just a thought.
Yeah, I agree. I'm sorry, was anybody else getting ready to go? No? Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think everybody to some degree has like their version of potential stardom in the back of their head. Whether I can sing a little bit, hold a note for about a whole 5 seconds, or whatever that looks like. Well, social media gives you the opportunity to either be good at it or be funny at it, one or the other. And then what you'll find is that a lot of people actually have made a lot of money on social media. So when we look at it, like, what was the thing that moved them or allowed them to be brave enough to do these things? Was it watching TV, celebrities, whatever the case may be? I think it's actually seeing other people's success, right? Seeing an average Joe who probably drive a cable truck during the day and come home and record a video and post it online and get 1 million views. I think that is the catalyst behind some people just being brave enough to take a chance on themselves. And so that's where I would go with it. And I'm not taking away from anything that everyone said, because I agree that is true. Like Roland, want to be Isaac from the Love Boat. I got you. You know what I'm saying? But, because he probably seen, the Whispers with them big old mustaches back in the days and, stuff like that. So I get it. Those are things that we look at and say, why not me? And I commend everybody who actually is brave enough to do that. But I don't think it is all because of like people on TV or stuff of that nature. I think it's the fact that they've seen somebody who looks just like them, whose life mirrored them. Like some dude in the trailer home, got a broken down 52 Buick in the backyard, and they out there recording videos and stuff like that. So I think that's the thing. That's the catalyst that gives everybody the opportunity to push forward and try their version of success on social media. Now, previously, we all talked about a version of curated information that kind of reveals either a person being authentic or more unauthentic about who they really are. And I think everybody was hitting a home run as it relates to that. But why do you think that there is so much pressure to present an idealized version of ourselves online?
Oh, I think it's like everybody on here should know that I like to cook. And, people are like, you should put it on, that yada, yada. But when I see it on social media, I see cooking on social media, the kitchen is clean, immaculate. Everything's here and everything has a place. When I'm cooking, it's a mess. So sometimes people don't want to see the messy part. They don't want you to see the messy part of what's actually going on. So if I put it on social media, I can edit it, I can make it look a certain way, I can have it. So the pressure is me presenting it like it should be and how it is. It makes me look like I'm the residential expert and I got it going on. So people look to me, and that builds my self-esteem and makes me feel better and feeds my ego.
I've been thinking about what everybody else said, and I'm looking at this, and I'm kind of looking at my life over the last couple of months. I'm thinking about myself and how I present or how I represent myself on social media, what I may post. Over the last 2 months, I've had a family reunion. I've traveled to Europe. I've started a new job. I've had a couple of deaths in the family, and I bought a couple of new suits and I bought some new shoes. Right. So all of those things have happened in the course of the last couple of months. Um, I think one thing that I do know I think I posted something about posting myself in a suit, a new suit that I got and some new tennis shoes that I had on. That is who I am. That is just a small representation of who I am. That is my authentic self. When I post, I am being me. I am not trying to be Coach. I am not trying to be Gaddy, who wears suits all the time and blah, blah, blah. I'm not trying to be Coach. I'm not trying to be Ron. I'm not trying to be anybody. I'm just trying to be me. So when I look at social media, and what I would hope the lens that people look at social media through is that they are just, I don't know if everybody's really trying to be somebody else. I think that, like I said, I had so many different things that go on. I'm busy. I'm not posting every single thing that goes on in my life. I do think that there are a bunch of people who do exactly what a lot of you guys said, but I also think that there are some people on there who are just being their authentic self. They just choose what things to post. If I were to post it, oh, hey, well, we have so and so, we have some deaths in the family, like everybody's going to, I'm going to have 3,000 different I'm sorries, crying faces, prayers. I'm going to have 3,000 of these, right? I already know that. But that's not necessarily my intent behind the reason why I get on social media. It's usually to promote a show or something about business, or either just to highlight a certain small portion of my life. So I don't feel the pressure to present myself in a certain way on social media. I think there's a subgroup, probably a big subgroup of people who feel the same way, who think the same way. But I also do think that there is a big pressure for certain people to present themselves in a certain way. And a lot of it is people want to be validated. So in a sense, I say all that to say that some people, the pressure is there because they want to be validated by a bunch of people that they don't even know. My 2 cents.
I like that, and I just want to kind of just touch up on what he said, because for those of us he shared about the, the family, what his family had to go through over the past couple of weeks. Those people knew, but I don't recall seeing you post that online, and I think that's the thing, being selective about what you let other people into, when it comes down to the intimate parts of your life. That's not. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's called maturity. I think when we start sharing everything, oh, I'm in the mall, oh, I'm at the store, oh, I'm doing my hair, oh, I'm getting my beard shaved up, oh, I'm buying a new pair of shoes. Like, that's like, why do you think I care that much? I don't mean no disrespect when I say that, right? But in your position, and I can attest to it because we're connected on social media, right? I don't, he doesn't post everything. And I think that pretty much goes for everybody here because I think we're all connected. We don't see them posting every aspect of their life. And so I love the fact that you said in most cases, there are some people who are really being their true authentic self, kind of like we talked about previously, but then in some cases, there are others who aren't. And they're showing you everything that's going on because they think their life is a movie reel. So the validation piece, I love the fact that you say that.
If I can be transparent for a minute, I felt the pressure. You know, I think most of us here have been married young, and after my marriage ended, my friends that lived out of town would be like, so what do you got going on? So I don't ever see you on Facebook. I don't ever see you, you know, going out on dates. What's going on? Like, as if I just went away somewhere and just, you know, disappeared. And for a minute, it took me, you know, it kind of took me back. Like, well, am I doing something wrong? Like, am I supposed to like show you every aspect of my life? And I had to kind of like sit in that for a minute. It was uncomfortable for me to be like, I don't really want to. You know, for me, I did feel the pressure because I had friends in my 20s that now in our mid 40s, they post every meal, every trip, every pair of shoes. You know, every 3 days, I love my man and he the best thing in the world. And, you know, why you on my phone on Friday? And it's a different story. So I do understand that social media is not real, but I know myself personally, I have felt that pressure from my peers. So I had to sit with that until I did not give in to that because it wasn't comfortable for me. I didn't want to put every aspect of my life online.
So you felt pressure from your peers to post a certain type of life on social media?
I did, honestly. They post everything their kids did. I mean, one of them, you could just tell her, she had like, well, not really young kids, but like maybe like preteens. And you could just kind of tell in their face, like they were just sick of the camera and sick of taking pictures. You know, I had a girlfriend who one got married and she had a big elaborate wedding. And every 2 days it was like, I got the best man in the world. And then we would all get together a couple times a year. And it's like, oh, I see you on social media. And then it was like, but Adrian, what do you have going on? I don't see you posting. Do you date? I mean, what do you just work? That's all you do? Like, I never see you out. And I was like, I didn't know I was supposed to show that part of me. So I did. I felt that for a minute. Now I didn't give into it, but it was kind of like, am I the elephant in the room? Like, is everybody else doing this? Am I different? You know, and you know, thankfully I understood that yes, I am. And it was okay for me to be private. But, and eventually those questions stopped. But like, yeah, my mid to late 20s, I definitely felt it because they put everything they did online.
Mid to late 20s, girl. Nah, let me stop. I'm with you. And sometimes people think they know you from social media. They think, oh, well, because I see them out all the time. And they think that's their connection with you. They don't have a real connection with you. And sometimes you got to speak Ebonics to the people and stop being so proper. And you got to tell them, none of your business. And then let them leave you alone, because sometimes people will overstep and become habitual line steppers because you allow them in that space. And now they think they can push. They think they can overstep. And sometimes you just got to check people. Just check the one in public and let them know that's not what I do. And then the rest will stop.
Okay, I was just looking over at the question again that is there, and I thought about the pressure to present an idealized version of ourselves online. I think that's part of our responsibility, right? Because we can't have the mindset of monkey see, monkey do. You know, because I see you do it, I'm going to do it. Okay, so it's my responsibility to monitor the things that I'm taking in and not feeling pressured because of what someone else is doing. So if I see you, I'm getting ready to say this, ladies, preparing us for the hearts of women, okay? If I see you in the mirror with your backside to the camera, am I going to do the same thing that you're doing? Am I? And so we have to make sure that we monitor what we're doing and what we're taking in, so we don't adopt those behaviors. For me, and I guess because I'm more mature, I don't feel that pressure. I don't think I've ever felt the pressure to conform to what I see someone else doing online. When it comes to business, I can say that's a little bit different because I'm like, I be getting ideals and then, I'm trying to promote my business. So That's advertisement. So I think it's our responsibility to monitor the things that we're taking in. Again, I guess I maybe repeat myself from saying the same thing, but I do think that's our responsibility.
I think that we are so used to living a lie. We grew up Santa Claus and all kinds of things that are not real. And so we present ourselves as an idealized version online because we really do not want to be rejected. We're used to living a lie. And that just sums it up for me. I think that everybody pretty much covered everything else. But that's the only reason that you're going to see all of the fancy things that everyone's doing, or questions being asked to Adrian. Well, aren't you dating? Is it your business? I just don't think everything is meant to be televised. You know, it's not everybody's business what you're doing in your life. And if you show everybody what you're doing, then that just leaves more room for them to criticize, judge, and hate on you anyway. I'm not saying that all people are bad, because definitely they aren't. But I do believe that we have grown up pretending far too long.
I
I
actually
think
heard you say that, like telling somebody, like, mind your business. Go ahead, Uncle. I'm sorry.
I would just say it sound like, she's, in a sense hitting on cultural norms. I look at in certain cultures, it's okay, people go out and buy, $200 Jordans, but won't put $50 in the savings account, knowing that they don't have the $200 for the Jordans. It's something like, certain people want to look a certain way, even though they may not have. So I think that this may kind of relate or kind of may parallel certain cultural norms that we see on a regular basis, presenting ourselves as something that we may not really be. I may not have $1 million or very successful financially to where I can really afford, these Gucci purses and, these product glasses or anything like that. But I can look like it. And if I have these things, then people don't automatically assume that I'm on a certain status that I'm really not. So I think status, or wanting a certain level of status because of what comes with status, has something to do with it as well, with the pressure. Especially for
Um,
men, 'cause let's be honest, some dudes, were kind of taught early on that, we need to be providers. So in order to be a provider, that means you have to have resources. So even if I don't have resources, if I want to get a certain lady, I need to maybe possibly lie or look like I have resources, at least on social media. And then maybe I can attract her with the fake resources. And then maybe by the time I get her and the truth gets exposed, maybe she already stuck to me like honey. Who knows?
Is that where catfish came from?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
What you got, Gaddy?
I almost forgot. You know how quick I forget.
It's a
Man.
young
I know. I'm hanging out with you old folks. I'm joking. I'm joking. You see, Unc done left. My bad, Unc. Nah. Man. So I think a part of it, yeah. But I think also we have been addicted to engagement, right? So it's like not necessarily the validation, not necessarily the show that my life is perfect. Not for everyone, because I think what everybody has said is true, and then some. I think a part of it is we are addicted to that social media engagement. Like I don't, not just the likes, but the comments and the conversations and the ooh, I like that, or that's my team. Like we post about, some people post about sports all the time because they like to be engaged about sports conversations, or the debating over LeBron and Jordan or whatever the case may be. So that's, the pressure comes on because it's like if I don't post, the stuff I know people are going to engage to, I'm gonna have no content. I'm gonna have no conversation. We don't talk like this no more. We don't meet up and go and kick it no more. I need you to like my comment or like my post or comment so we can communicate that way. So I agree with what everybody said, but I think that's also a small part to it as well.
Can I also add that some people are just nosy? They just want to be in your business. And I love the fact that Roland was like, tell them to stay out of your business. But some people, they develop these parasocial relationships just so they can be nosy, so they can compare what you have going on in your online life to what they actually have going on in real life. It makes me think about, like, I don't know if anybody's ever seen the meme of the grandmother meeting the granddaughter's boyfriend, and she's like, didn't she bring somebody else to the last family gathering? Like, they just really want to be in your business. And I just never was that type of person, but there are so many people, they want to see what you have going on in their parasocial relationship with you so they can compare it to their real life and see if they're measuring up to your perceived perfect life as well.
Some people are like me, and I like to see people do dumb stuff. I do. When you doing dumb stuff and I know it's dumb, I'm cracking up. I'm like, look at this fool right here. It's not that I enjoy it, but it's like I'm looking at people make bad decisions and bad choices when they can do other things. And so that's why I use it as entertainment. I don't take it so serious that I'm like, oh, and it ain't making me change anything. Now I take some information that I like the cooking. If I want to find a recipe or something, especially vegan recipes, I go on social media. I don't use it for the other things though, so much.
Yes, I'm with you. I think a lot of the comical stuff per se, I think they do it specifically for me. When they made that video, they had me in mind because I'm gonna watch it and I'm gonna laugh a little bit, but at some point I have to understand when I need to cut it off. And that means that at some point my boundaries need to kick in so that I don't get too deep or too indulged into the tomfoolery. So I guess with that being said, like, what signs should we watch for to know when our social media usage is negatively affecting our mental and emotional health?
I'll start this one. It's 4 letters and it's an acronym. FOMO, fear of missing out. If you feel like you're going to miss out on something all the time, you can't go to the bathroom for 5 minutes. You have to have your phone. You can't cook. You can't do this. You can't do that for fear that you're going to miss something. You're going to miss someone's post. You're going to miss someone's tweet, someone's something. I think that's a huge sign, because now you're like, I need it. You're constantly thinking about it. So I think to just start this question, I think for one sign that we should watch out for to know whether or not social media usage is negatively affecting our mental and emotional health is the fear of missing out.
That is not what I thought you was about to say when you said 4 letters and you started with the F. I promise you. I started. Man.
Omo, the other 4-letter word.
I thought I was the only one holding on, bracing. I was like, Lord, here we go.
Hey. Had to bring you in real quick.
I think this is you being mindful of what your thoughts are. Okay. Like, for instance, I hadn't watched the news or anything for a few years. I just don't watch the news. And I found myself watching it, and I was thinking about it, and I was watching it more and more, and I realized how it was making me feel to watch it. So that wasn't necessarily on social media, but just watching something that's not beneficial for you because it's negative. There was nothing positive about this election cycle, which is what I was watching. Okay. And so I think that you can monitor if you're taking in too much of anything by how you're thinking. what your conversation is. Those are indicators to me that maybe you're taking too much of that that in.
I think to your question, when something moves your feelings to emotions, and now you have something internally towards whatever you're looking at, and you gotta have an opinion, you gotta have a thought, you gotta speak your mind. You know, when somebody make me sick, or they this, that, and the other. Now I'm going too far, because I'm allowing this whatever it is in front of me and these people to now have some sort of control over how I move. That's when it's too far.
How do you know? I think sometimes you find yourself in a whirlwind in your social media. Like you're listening over and over again, video after video, and you're in these comment battles with people on social media because they have triggered you, or they triggered something, and it got too real sometimes. I think a lot of people engage, and I not tell you, sometimes I get guilty with I hate my algorithm, because my problem is when I hear something stupid, I comment, and I'm like, yeah, this is stupid, blah blah blah, and then next thing I know, I'm getting 35 notifications. That's, this person commented, this person commented, this person commented, and then I'll go read the comments, and now here I am, I'm down that rabbit hole with them, and I found myself invested into this argument with people that I've never seen, heard, or heard of, you know. And I'm like, why do I care? And we get so far. I know he didn't say nothing. Or you can just turn the notifications off. You can't get bullied if you turn it off. That's how I look at it. But I think we have to watch how we engage to certain things, and because it is easy to get caught up in it, and it is easy once you start commenting to go back and forth. You gotta learn to cut it off and get back to your reality going on right in front of you.
So I had taken a break from social media for about 2 weeks, and I went online last night, and there was this young lady that jumped online and felt like she needed everyone on the panel to help her through her mental and emotional health at that moment. I mean, she just went in, and even when she stopped and other conversations started, she jumped right back into the same conversation. I think when we start seeking out individuals on social media platforms to help us make decisions, or to find solace with people that we don't know, to say that we're right or that we're not right, whatever we're looking for, I think we've gone too far.
Yeah, I agree. I kind of look at this as a spectrum. Um, there's one spectrum that says that once it starts taking me away from the things that are important to me, when it starts intruding on family time, when it starts interrupting work time, when it starts negatively impacting my relationship with my friends, I think that's one end of the spectrum. But then there's another end that talks about the things in which I am trying to do for myself, my goals, and all of those things. So when it starts taking away from those things, right, that's a negative impact for me. But then when something on social media has the ability to trigger me, right, it could be revealing of me not necessarily doing the necessary work that I needed to do so that that thing no longer triggers me. But if I wasn't on social media looking at the thing that had the potential to trigger me, then I wouldn't have been triggered. So I think a lot of these things come into play when it comes down to this particular question. And like someone said, it can, that's what people do. We're addicted to nasty stuff. But transitioning over to where we can use social media as a tool for positivity and positive connections, in what ways can social media be a positive tool for building community and strengthening relationships?
Right now,
Go ahead.
I think we're experiencing that right now. You know, I think this is a positive environment. It's a positive tool with like-minded people coming together to talk about positive things. So I think this is an aspect, a positive tool for building community and strengthening relationships. I'm getting ready to give Empower and Perspective a shout out. We have a community of people who come together, and our focus is to strengthen each other, to encourage each other, um, for us to grow, in our lives each and every day, mentally, physically. It's an environment that is conducive for growth if we allow it to be. So you have to be a participant in this. It's just not going to show up and happen for you. You have to be a participant in the positive tools for building community and strengthening the relationships. So I believe this is not an exception to the rule, but I think it's a good example of there's other pockets, I'm sure, like our community, but I think this is a good example.
Our family has a group chat, and our family has a Facebook group for just the family. So one thing that it does is when it comes to strengthening relationships, it allows everybody to be connected and only, in a small private form. So when you have a private group and it's only for the family, we can share, now, someone can post, hey, so and so's birthday is coming up in 2 weeks, where now maybe people can go out and maybe this year this person gets a couple of extra birthday cards or Christmas cards or something like that. So, pictures get shared. Like I just, shared earlier, there's been a lot of different things that we've been experiencing in our family over the last couple of months or so. And the ability to be able to just drop some information and then everybody gets access to it, really fast, can help strengthen relationships. My first cousin's daughter is here right now. You know what I mean? Like I was with her dad for 2 weeks in Europe, and we have been connecting and getting a lot closer. Some of it is just through social media, so social media is can be a great tool. It can be a very positive tool for building community and strengthening relationships. And if you can figure out a way to use it for those things, and there's a whole bunch of crap out there. You know what I mean? We've already talked about that, but man, I'm telling you that social media can be a very good positive strengthening tool for anybody. And if you're not using it, I understand people don't like to use it. Certain people still are hesitant on certain things, but if you can figure out a way to use it and get everybody connected on it, it can really be a good positive thing. One quick little thing is that me and my wife, same thing. Like we will get on TikTok and we'll watch TikToks, and it might be a month or two to go by, and then all of a sudden we'll get together and we'll watch all of the TikToks that we've shared with each other over the last couple of months, and we might be there for 2 hours just watching TikToks. But that's time to where we can sit there, laugh, be comment on the different things that we see and share experiences and information, and just chill out sometime and just enjoy each other's company. So all of that. Next person.
And there's time you're spending together too. So that's a great example.
And time together. Yep. Shout out to Shale.
I know my family, we use YouTube, my stepsisters and I, we use YouTube to capture videos when we get together as family, because nobody has albums anymore. And, that's just not a thing. So anything that we've had from Christmas gatherings and watching my father think he's, James Brown / all of the 5 Heartbeats, all those videos that we have that are family memories and heirlooms, we're able to keep those on YouTube. And you see a lot of times when we're in our family group chat, it'll be like, hey, can you send me the picture of, dad dancing at Christmas, or send me the video of my sister that's deceased when, we had a birthday party for her. And it's a way for us to keep up with a lot of memories that we're unable to kind of keep in any other form.
I have met a lot of wonderful people on social media. I recently was invited to a herbal and wellness group, and we get up at 5 a.m. and we share thoughts from different books, and sometimes it's the scriptures. And then we walk together at 8:30 in the morning and experience nature together in different places. So it's definitely a way to connect with other people, to network, and to build a community, just like others have said about this community.
When I first joined Facebook, I think I was in Iraq in Mosul, and I really joined because my nieces and nephews were getting older, and I hadn't talked to them since they were pretty young. And I was in the army for a few years already, and so I was like, well, let me see what they're up to. Let me reach out to them, and that was, for me, it was a good way to stay connected to people that I was far away from. I was in Killeen, Texas, they're in New York, were in New York at the time, and so it was a good tool for me to continue to keep up with what's going on with the family. Kind of like Uncle and Love, like I said, but not really. We didn't have a group at the time, but we were friends on social media. I could see what they're posting. I can reach out to them, instant message them when I was, by using a little internet that we had hooked up in the tube. But what I think we have to realize, that everybody kind of pointed out, is that there's a good and there's a bad side to just about every tool that we have and that we use. It's how we use it. And so there are people out there teaching people how to start businesses, how to get grants, how to find grant writers, how to build a business credit so you can apply for loans or business credit. Like, these things exist, and learning how to use the information along your journey while you go reach your goals. Those opportunities are there, endless opportunities on social media and on the internet. But we just still got to be careful with what we allow to deter us while we looking up stuff and we end up on the reel and you stuck now. So.
I'm with everybody on here because I have 11 sisters and brothers, and I got a gang of kids, gang of nieces and nephews that's all across the country. So it does allow me to be in their spaces without actually being physically in their spaces. But also, I think when it comes to the social media, we may look at it and see what's projected more. But if you were like, I first got on TikTok because my granddaughter, I seen her dancing in front of my phone. I'm like, what's she doing? She done got on my thing and made a TikTok. So I made one so that I can follow the grandkids and make sure people weren't on there doing unsavory things. So it is a way so that you can find some relaxation time, find something comical, reach out to people. But it also, just like anything else, has its traps where you can find yourself going down rabbit holes of misinformation and just vulgarities and other things that lead you away from the Most High versus closer to. But that's all about the person. The person has to dictate what comes through their devices, because it's on your phone, it's on your computer, it's on your TVs and everything else now. So I think we have to get to the point to where we don't look at it as a negative. We have to filter the negativity that comes through it so we won't have it sitting at our doorstep.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with everybody. Again, it gives us a way to connect when we're at a distance. We can go and search out specific information that we want that can kind of move us closer to the goals that we're working on, things of that nature. Thank you all for what you said in relation to totalmindsetshift.com. Again, we try to add value. There's some things coming out, that a lot of people are working on that I am thoroughly pleased with what I'm seeing. And I also want to give a plug as well, because last night we participated with our sister, Dr. Lisa Washington, on the Power of Shut Up podcast. And I invite each and every one of you on Thursday nights at 7 p.m. Just look up the Power of Shut Up. Follow her and support her, because she has another teaching platform, and I think everybody enjoyed that as well. So moving on to our final question before we get into our final thoughts, which is a faith-based approach to identity in social media. How can we align our identity with biblical truths rather than letting social media trends or opinions shape how we see ourselves?
I think what we've uncovered today is that everything you see on the screen, whether it's your TV screen or on your phone screen, tablet screen, what have you, it's not always real, right? And a lot of times it's not real, right? People are putting on a show for you. People are putting on a facade, whatever the case may be. And so with that said, is when you are concrete and knowing who you are and knowing the God that you serve, knowing his word, understanding his ways, you build yourself on that and you focus on that. And I think another side of it is spend more time in that than you do on social media. And use social media for what it's good for, right? It's good to connect with people and it's good for entertainment. When people are out there talking and saying stuff, it is funny. You know, I think the most time I spend on social media nowadays is laughing at some of the stuff that Coach be sending me, because he be sending me some foolish stuff, right? But but that's where I get my laugh at. Either that or Roland to say something crazy on one of his posts that'll make me laugh. Right? And then I'm back off of social media, because there's life to live. There's people in front of me I have to love. And I can't spend time trying to shape myself after something that one may not even be real, and two may not even fit who I am in the first place. And I find myself in the struggle because I'm trying to be what I want to be, but it doesn't mesh with who I am. And so who I am is shaped and molded by the Holy Spirit and the word of the Most High. I should be all right.
I'm gonna jump in. I'm gonna jump in. I really do like this question. How can we? I just stopped at how can we align our identity with biblical truths? I'm gonna stop right there. If we don't know who God is, we can't identify who He is, and we can't identify who He's not. And so, if we don't understand who He is, and our identity, for me, I can say my identity is found in Him, then I can recognize what is not like Him because I've taken the time to get to know Him, and His character, and His principles, and His instructions for me for my life. So once I know that, and it's a part of my identity, that is who I am and who I am representing myself to be, then I can't be, if it be possible, even the very elect will be deceived. I mean, that's not right. That's not up there. But if it be possible, then you will be deceived because you don't have the information that you need to make the conscious choices and decisions that you need to make to identify what is God and what is not. And so I'll stop there.
I'll jump in. I think when you make a choice and the decision to spend more time trying to gain a closer walk with him versus trying to see what the next dance is, what the next this is. And that's why you gotta limit yourself. If you go to your phone will tell you where you spend your time. It'll tell you where you spend the most time, and some of that time is garbage. And sometimes you have to prune those things out of your life that doesn't edify your walk. So whether it's reading the word, studying the word, or just having communication with people who have like minds that will stimulate you in that vein, that's more edifying than you sitting for hours just scrolling, seeing what people are saying. That's my take on that one.
I know for me, a lot of times with social media trends, I used to use Pinterest a lot, like to see what the latest fashion forward, what was in that season as far as clothes and whatever the hottest look was. And it had to get to the point where when it became financial mismanagement for me personally, I had to take a step back, because at the end of the day, the Most High doesn't care anything about what the latest trend is. There's not a Vogue magazine. There's not anything in Essence or anything like that I can personally buy to put on that's going to change the internal man. This has become more important to me than what everything on the outside has been. So I had to learn to scale that back. I still want to look good, but I had to put that in perspective that not every trend is for me. And as time goes on and these months and days and roll by and these trends are getting crazier and crazier, most of them aren't for me. So I had to really take an assessment and say, if I am made in his image, a lot of these things that are trendy, that may be popular, that may even be in the stores, I have to leave there because they're not appropriate for me if I'm a representative of him and his kingdom.
I think Lisa started off correctly when she paraphrased and talking about what is the truth. Like, first of all, you have to know what the truth is, right? So that's the first part right there. And then after that, and then only then can you either align yourself, or I wrote down the application of whatever the truth is. So once you discover and figure out what the truth is, then you align or use the application of the truth or what you've learned in the Bible. That's how you move. And that's not necessarily like the trends and different things like that. They're trends for a reason. They're temporary. I don't know how many times I've heard people say that, God's word is forever, past, present, and future. It's always going to be there. So those things stand the test of time, not trends and opinions. So focus, first of all, figure out what the truths are, and then apply the truth to your life.
Well, Unc said everything. I mean, I don't think I can say it better. Identify those things within yourself and within what you align with the Most High, and you can start looking at social media trends and how those opinions shape you, or how can I put it? Excuse me. Seeing those social media trends and seeing how they don't even apply to your life can lead you to identify, so what really is me? Who am I in the Most High? And I think some of those things can lead us back to identifying ourselves with the biblical truths.
Sometimes I would just say this. Sometimes we do see biblical truth on social media and on TikTok and on other platforms. And I think when we do find those things, I think it's okay to look at those things and sometimes look at ourselves and have some accountability and say, am I aligned with some of these biblical principles and truths that I'm hearing on social media?
Preach now, preach.
Well, I love it. Listen, I'm loving it. Oh, you went back and touched on, Lisa's point about truths and understanding what those truths are. I would touch on the aspect of this sentence, to this question that talks about alignment, because the alignment is the key. I think a lot of times we can search out the truths, we can quote the truths, in proper settings, but we have an issue from the spoken word to the express word because we don't necessarily take the time, energy, and efforts to ensure that the three parts of our being line up with that truth. And so the thing that we do not digest or process properly is that in order for transformation to happen, transaction must first take place. If transaction does not take place first, transformation will never happen. So we're only deceiving myself if we do not do the necessary transaction in order for the door to open to the transformation that we are expecting. So a lot of times we expect transformation, but we didn't do the necessary work that was supposed to take place before the transformation ends up happening. So understanding that alignment principle, understanding the four parts of my expression gets me to the point so that I can actually visually depict, understand, and recognize whether or not the evidence lines up with the truth. The evidence of my behavior in real time with people in time and space according to the truth as I so understand it, understanding that what I now understand will change as I continue to practice over time because I become better acquainted with what his truths are. So great response from everybody. Thank you for that. That being said, this kind of takes us to our bittersweet moment, our final thoughts. You're muted.
Thank you. Sorry. I love the social media conversation. A lot of us center a lot of things that we do in life around social media. And it's so important to make sure that we are checking ourselves to make sure the information that we're taking in is beneficial to us and it's not taking us down roadways or avenues that are can be harmful to us, can take us off our path. There's nothing wrong with, making a joke or I'm the queen of memes. That's what my family calls me. Or even celebrating sports and all the things that encompass being a whole human being in this season of life. But what I will say is being mindful of the things that you take in, making sure that it is not taking you off of your purpose, taking you off of your path, or distracting you from the goals that you've set for yourself. With that, have a good evening.
Ooh, man. So I love this conversation. I definitely love how we are able to talk in a practical sense and still realize that there is a biblical principle behind what we are saying and what we're teaching, all from our perspective, right? But one of the things I want to hit on that kind of hit me at the end of the last portion. Yes, I'm using this for my alibi. I love y'all. But when it comes to the point of putting ourselves in alignment with the word of the Most High, it is very important that we spend a lot of time in our secret place and in our prayer space and our meditation space with the Most High, and then continuing to have that prayer going on in our heart that He continues to work on us and shape us. Because the reality is, if you keep trying to do it, if you keep relying on yourself, I believe that you will come short every time. But when we allow His sanctification and power to take over our shaping process, over our remaking process, and leave it in His hands, we will be surprised with who we become, right? And we'll be surprised with what He exposes in us in His Word, and then we continue to grow in that. We continue to move forward in that. All right. So that's all I have. Just remember that we are His people, and now we have to.
Well, one of the things that I get from this conversation, because I'm not on social media a lot, is that we need to be careful of what we allow to go into our bodies and what we hold on to. Because a lot of things that we tend to hold on to can turn into idolatry. even though we might not see ourselves as worshiping such, we do. And we can take those and internalize them and end up not really finding our way back to the Most High and aligning with the Word and with the truth. So I just would like for people to really be mindful of the things that we put in our body, because it is our temple and we're supposed to keep it holy. Thank you.
I think first and foremost, if you know who you are, you can never lose who you are. So get to know yourself, get to know who your maker is, get to know him in an intimate way, and it'll stop a lot of the foolishness that you allow to go on. You allow to go inside your gates, your eye gates, your ear gates, and so forth and so on. So when you continue to grow in that aspect, knowing who you are, it'll limit those things that take you away from that. So whether it be social media or television or whatever, you won't allow yourself to go down those paths, because social media is just a tool. It can be used for positive or it can be used for negative. And that's what happens. And it puts the onus on you. Yeah, they have algorithms and things that will feed you certain things that will take you away from who you're trying to be. But you have to have the intestinal fortitude to know who you're trying to become, to say, hey, I'm not going down that path anymore. I'm trying to move this route. So when it comes to being connected and staying connected without losing yourself, continue to gain the knowledge of who you are and whose you are, because then you'll find your actual purpose and it won't be found simply on social media. Thank you.
I really did enjoy this conversation. And I think the first thing when I think about this, I think about responsibility. Whose responsibility is it to monitor what you are taking in? It's our responsibility to monitor what we're watching and what we're observing, because those are the things that do affect us. And, if the word of God says to keep your mind stayed on him and he'll keep you in perfect peace. If you're watching social media and it's beginning to make you feel a certain way, then you have to be mindful, be cautious of what you are feeling and what you are, how you're speaking. So you have indicators that maybe you need to take a break from, being on social media so much, because it is our responsibility. As I think Roland said, and as I think Ms. Levon said, it's our responsibility to monitor what we're entertaining and we're taking in for our life. Spend time with something and doing something positive. Sometimes, we get so ingratiated with social media that we forget that there's books we can read, there's walks that we can take, as others were talking about. There's things that we can do to help improve our life so we can remain healthy, versus sitting and watching social media for hours. Those are just some suggestions. They're just suggestions. But we are responsible for the things that we're taking in. Thank you so much for this evening, and I appreciate everyone who was here this evening.
Tonight's show is called Social Media and Self-Worth: How to Stay Connected Without Losing Yourself. So with that being said, I wrote down 4 things that answers this question as far as how to stay connected without losing yourself. The first one is boundaries. Create boundaries when it comes to your social media. When that little lady comes on after an hour on TikTok and tells you that you've been scrolling for too long, maybe listen to her, but also look at the context around the reason why you're on social media. Maybe if you're with your honey and you guys are just spending time on TikTok enjoying yourself, maybe a good idea. But if you were on the bathroom and you've been scrolling for an hour, maybe time to go ahead and get on up. I'm just saying. The next thing is don't compare. How to stay connected without losing yourself. You're not on social media to compare yourself to what Coach is doing or what Lisa's doing or what someone else is doing. So don't worry about what they're doing. There's nothing wrong with looking at somebody who may be doing something and you want to get better, I think those things are okay, but not necessarily in the same sense as comparing yourself to where it's rolling out a new car. So now I need to go out there and get me a new car too. The next thing is look for good content, look for positive content that's going to feed you, not just the negative things, but some other things that you may even be interested in, hobbies, things that you like, things that you dreamed about when you were a kid. You know, get into TikTok, maybe learn some of these things, learn some things about things that you're genuinely interested in. You know, maybe when you was a kid, you got into RC cars. Well, go search up RC cars on TikTok. You never know, you may find you a hobby. So, and then lastly is self-assessment. So what I mean by that is do self-assessments weekly, quarterly, monthly. Look at yourself and sometimes see how and if you are displaying any of those negative signs or negative things that can come from being addicted to social media or addiction to anything. So those are my 4 things when it comes to how to stay connected without losing yourself. 1, boundaries. Don't compare yourself. Look for good content, and then self-assessments. That's my final thought.
I love it. I love it. It takes a lot of lights to be able to sit before everybody and talk to them. Just for me, you know, as dark skinned brothers, we need a lot of light. But in order for those lights to work, they must stay connected to the power source. For us, that power source is the Most High. It is imperative that we stay connected to Him as the source of our being, because we are a resource for Him to express Himself through us. That becomes important for us to process and digest in a world that is so stuck in covetous behavior. Being able to look at what somebody else is doing and desire to want to do that. Being able to look at what somebody else is wearing and desire to want to wear that. All of that goes against what His word actually says. The only person I'm supposed to desire to be like is His Son. So we have to go back and make sure that we ourselves, as we start assessing, I'm going back and grabbing one of Garfield's phrases, one of the consistency coach phrases. Going back and assess ourselves. What we are assessing is our behavior as it compares to what His word says. The more clarity we gain about His word, the more clarity we should be able to gain about our behavior. And when we do that, that should make us more connected over the course of time as it relates to our relationship with Him. Take everything you heard everybody just said. Make sure you do the prayers. Make sure that you're studying. Make sure that you're looking at what you're looking at, right? Metacognition. Look at what you're looking at. Think about what you're thinking about, and then start to adjust the algorithm to such a degree that it serves you well based upon where you are in your current life. It's cool to watch what everybody else is doing if you keep it at the space of entertainment. But in order for you to do that, you must have established the proper boundaries in your life. And those are my final thoughts for today. Listen, I want to personally thank everybody on the panel. I know this was a lot. This is not our norm, but I think this was fun. I think it was great to hear different perspectives, both men and women. And I think we should do this periodically, just so that you guys know. And I also want to thank everybody out there in the social media land, whether you are here doing the live recording or whether you show up after the live show and watch it as a recording. I want you to know that we greatly appreciate you. We want to kind of, again, Crystal Everett, man, I'm sitting here just watching you light up the chat with just all the information. I want to thank you. Cassandra, thank you for what I've seen so far as the initial draft of the newsletter. Adrian, I know you're going to send me something here in the next couple of days. No rush, but I just want to thank you openly in front of everybody. And for those of you who I haven't reached out to yet, don't worry about it. I'm going to reach out to you. I ain't forgot about you. I just want to make sure that I get some things moving so I can take my hands off it and then reach out to you. For everybody else who is actually, thinking about being a part of the community, join the community. Again, this is a place where we really do believe in each other, believe in helping one another and uplifting one another on a day-to-day basis. So that being said, remember tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. I'm leaning the right way. The Hearts of Women. I got to do my pie the right way. The Hearts of Women. Okay. 10:30 a.m. I will be in support, and I hope that all of you will join me as well. So that being said, you guys have a fantastic rest of your weekend. See you guys tomorrow morning. See you guys Tuesday at 7 p.m. Oh yeah, bring up the show banner, please, with all the shows so that everybody can see exactly where they are. Because I mean, sometimes it gets so much to where I just can't remember it. Hold on, give me a second. I got it. So tomorrow morning, 10:30 a.m., the Hearts of Women. Tuesday at 7 p.m., you got Coach's Corner. Again, I see you have to make that roll. That's all right. Just sit low. You good. Again, next week at 8 p.m. here, as always, the Hearts of Men. And then the following Saturday, we got Reframing the Image of Relationships. So it's a lot going on. Stay plugged in. Make sure that you have your notifications turned on. And listen, enjoy the rest of your evening. See you guys tomorrow morning. And let the best version of yourself be a blessing to somebody else.